Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to this week's episode of Tuesday Preppers, where we take a look at the in-game news and see what's coming our way this week to try and get ready for it. In particular, with an emphasis on trying to get your hands on killer materia and abilities that are going to help you prepare for trials. This week, there's not a ton of information about upcoming events because there's really only one thing, and it's Dark Visions, which is not always my favorite thing, but I still want to talk about it. So if we scroll down to the January monthly bulletin, which just came out a couple days ago, and we go to the Dark Visions section, we can see that the final boss of Dark Visions right down here is a Reaper enemy that is weak to ice, lightning, and dark. Also tells us to make sure we keep our dark resistance raised and our debuff resistance raised. And our disease resistance raised. So we know a couple of things about it, obviously, from that. That's going to be doing some dark damage, obviously. And we want to make sure we protect ourselves from breaks and statuses and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over a list of like the units that might help you to do those things. We did this before in the previous Clash of Wills video, where we broke down like different units with element support and things like that I thought might be useful. And it got some really good feedback, and people seem to really enjoy that. So I wanted to do that again with Dark Visions, especially since Dark Visions is not that exciting. Yeah, to help us with that, I actually opened up the chat in my Twitch stream tonight, and got a lot of feedback from people who gave ideas. And we also looked at the builder together and trying to find good units that we thought might be useful. I'm going to share those with you. So big shout out and thank you to everybody who was involved in that. Rooks, Jonathan, MK, Magic Bun, Moose, all you guys who were there during that part of the stream. I really appreciate you hanging out and helping us come up with ideas for who you're going to bring. And so we're going to share some of those ideas with you. Truden Ryu is another one. So lots of people were there in the chat helping out. Elfrey, I can't remember the thing. Elfry, Efry, sorry, you were helping out too, and so there were lots of people there helping out, trying to put together this list of units, and so I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Before I get into it, I think it's worth talking about the other bits of news that we're getting. So I'm going to start with this one. It's kind of hard to see on screen. There's the 2023 celebration step up for a vision card. It's 19k Lapis to try and get this vision card. And it's important because they put Shui Yi on the banner for this, and Shui Yi is getting some upgrades, which is pretty cool. And then you just do all this and get like exchange tickets and things to get this vision card at the end, which we'll talk about here right now. This is the only new vision card this week. It looks like that. And the stats on it are 2023 HP, attack and magic 130. Boosts attack and magic by 500 and gives 50% of the chain cap up. It gives you a rolling ice amp ability, and then for FFBE units it gives them attack and magic 200% true double hand when you're using true double hand. So I thought my initial reaction to this was that it's a hybrid card, and that it's going to be really good for hybrid damage dealers who want to be true double hand but can't for some reason. So like units like Starlight Alina, units like Eldrin. But then I was thinking about it, and really this card is good for any attack unit because it doesn't. This thing here, the attack and magic 500, is not limited to any series. So any unit who needs a good vision card that's going to give them bonus stats, this is good for. Any unit that wants to pretend to be an ice unit, this is good for. The only unit things it's not good for is people who aren't in FFBE, but they're just losing out on, this true double hand, which can easily be made up for in other ways. So I do think this is a really good vision card. However, I personally can't really spend the Lapis on it. So I don't have the Lapis to immediately on day one go grab this card without knowing more about what's coming next. So here's what I'm recommending for people who maybe are thinking about it, maybe aren't sure. I do think it's a very strong, very good vision card that's definitely worth 19,000 Lapis. I just don't have it to spare. Here's what I recommend. This banner is available until Wednesday, the 18th of January. So that gives us a couple weeks to save your Lapis, get rewards and things like that. See what's coming down the pipe for the next 2 weeks. We can check the news and see what news we get for the next couple of weeks. and then make a decision. If you're not sure, don't pull the trigger until the end. See what else you get, see what else is coming, and then decide towards the end if you're not sure. If you don't have the Lapis, if you're not going to spend the money to get the Lapis, I would recommend waiting, because I do think it's a very, very good card. I don't think it's going to make or break your account, but I think it's very, very good and worth the Lapis. You're going to get a bunch of guaranteed Neos along the way too. That could be all kinds of stuff. There you go. If you're interested in Shui Yi, so Shui Yi is getting upgrades and revamped to get a bunch of morale stuff and a bunch of bonus stuff for their Brave Shift, and a lot of neat stuff. Their STMR is getting boosted, and then they're getting some additional buffs. So, I mean, Shui Yi is on the banner and is going to be getting some nice little additions, which is kind of cool. If you're into that and you're into the Vision card, go for it. Personally, I already have EX2 Shui Yi, so I don't want to go too crazy trying to get more copies of it right now, without seeing more of her numbers, without seeing the kit, without seeing what else is coming down the pipe. So maybe we'll pull, maybe we won't, not 100% sure yet. Gotta wait and see what we got. A couple other things happening here is we have Dark Visions. It is not shareable rank 1, so you have to work at it a little bit. And there are some nice rewards like Dark Matter. You're gonna get 2,000 Dark Matter for everybody up to rank 2,000. Is gonna get 2,000 Dark Matter. So that's really cool for anybody who is struggling to put together their Dark Visions weapons. And then also Galvanite is in here as well. For everybody who is above rank 1,000, you're getting 2 Galvanite, which is kind of nice. I usually aim for about rank 1,000 myself. Last month I was in the 220s, which is really, really high for me. So I'm hoping to try and keep that streak going and get a bunch of Dark Matter and a bunch of get a couple Galvanite too. But we'll see how it goes. Definitely wouldn't mind the Lapis either, but we'll see. And we like I said, we know that the final boss is a Reaper, and the final boss is really the only one that matters in Dark Visions. So we're going to talk now about what you can do to get ready for that. So like I said before, from the monthly preview, we know the final boss is a Reaper enemy, weak to dark, ice, and lightning. We want to buff dark resistance, buff debuff resistance, and buff disease resistance. So I'm going to pop up some information on the screen. So here are some allies that can give you Reaper Killer. These are from buffs. Now, these are only the allies who have 120 or better. There are lots of others that give Reaper Killer, but these are the ones that give the best buffs for Reaper Killer that are available. So White Dragon Ling is 150 to everybody in the party. Neovision's Rosa also has Limit Burst Reaper Killer, as well as Single Target Reaper Killer, which is much higher, 250. Elegant Temptress Lilith, she has a Reaper Killer buff. Songstress Yuna has a Reaper buff. Summoner Yuna has a Reaper buff. Stormseeker Esther has a Reaper buff. So lots of options for units that are going to have Reaper Killer. So these are the units that are maybe kind of start the foundation of like, who am I going to fit into this party? And then you want to think about some other things. They mentioned we want to have protection from dark, debuffs, and disease. So I put together then the list of units that have really good dark resistance, in particular like 100% or better. So like the Awakened Paladin Cecil and Redwing Cecil both have a buff for 100%. Lilith has a 200%. With Carton, you can do like absorption of dark damage, which is kind of cool. You can do that with Lilith too, actually. Gabranth has a nice 100% buff. Hyunkel has a 100% buff. Seymour, Ash, Cetra Descendant Aerith, NBA Elena, Warrior's Prayer, Dark Fina, Determined Dagger, Chow, Fina the Return, Fledgling Warrior, Runda has a 100% dark buff. Sage of Thunder Sakura, Shoreline Fina and Daisy, Neovision Snow, Unileska. There are several NBAs that have dark buffs. So already we can kind of see some synergy between the Reaper Killer and the protection from dark in Lilith in particular. Yeah, so there's definitely some options there. As far as debuffs and disease, basically any Neovisions or better, or Neovisions unit, or even 7-star units can give you protection from various debuffs and disease. But like basically anybody who has healer and support tags, you can also get resistance to these things from items. So it's not too difficult. I'm not worried too much about that. Usually the damage that you take and the buffs that you need for like doing damage against certain races is really important. So we're going to take those and we're going to compare that against a list of enemies or units that give you buffs for different elements. So if you want to go for a dark team, you can talk about Warrior's Prayer Dark Fina, who also had a nice dark buff, which is good. Have has a weak Reaper Killer buff and also good dark support. Bulwark has dark support. Madame Adele has dark support, as somebody said, in a pinch. Full Moon Carton has dark support for the party. Lilith has dark support for the party, technically on a limited basis. Neovision Snow and Yigni both have dark support. So some more overlap. Lilith is now in the dark support category, the Reaper Killer category, and the dark protection category. So Lilith may be making her way onto some teams here. For ice support, we've got units like Yish, Yoshikiri, Fravia, Ayaka, technically Christine, Neovision Celeste, Awakened Dragon Axstar, Bulwark again, NVA Elena, Ilmatal, and Vivi. Pure-Hearted Vivi has an ice imbue. I forgot about that. But he's also got a lightning imbue too, so he's in the next section as well. Lightning, the big pick, of course, is always going to be Sylvie, Pure-Hearted Vivi, All Bad Girl Riku, Sage of Thunder, Sakura again, as well as the Blossom Sage Sakura. NVA Lightning. Melia technically has a lightning imbue, and so does Savior of Souls Lightning. So lots of options there. Notice that Sakura, the Sage of Thunder, is also on the protection from dark as well. So if you want to go for a lightning team, she can give you resistance protection from dark as well as help you with lightning. She does a nice imperil field for lightning too. So already we're kind of putting together some ideas from teams depending on what you need. Warrior's Prayer Fina is in dark as well as dark support. So we've got a lot of options. So those are the kind of things you want to think about. Who are some units that I can pull together that do the various multiple things that I need to take care of that are going to help me with that? And those are some units that I think may be useful to you. Now, in terms of like killers and materia and things that are in the game, again, Reaper's really the only one we're going to focus on here. The best ones that you can do are Undead Killer Plus from Dullahan Advanced, Undead Killer from Dullahan Intermediate, and the recipe for it to make your own. And then Reaper Eater Sense from Stroper, and as well as Conquering the Fear of Spirits. So Stroper Advanced is probably one of the easiest 12 types trials that we have. I'm going to show you a team that's going to take care of it very easily using, old units and a really strong friend to kind of carry the damage. And then we're going to do the same team actually and take out Conquering the Fear of Spirits as well from Scorn of the Ancient Hellbringer. And that's going to get us two 75% Reaper Killers. The Reaper Eater Senses attack and magic, and then our physical and magical. And Conquering the Fear of Spirits is only physical. That's okay. It's still going to give us a bunch of killers. So I'm going to go ahead and show you these now. We're going to start with the Stroper Advanced. So we're going to go to the Vortex, and we're hoping that we can find a friend who's going to be geared for this. We're going to go to 12 types takedown here. We're going to go to Stroper Advanced. Here's the challenges for this one. Complete the quest, beat it in 10 turns, party of 5, and no deaths. And we are looking for anybody who is geared for Stone Killer with an Ayaka friend is what we're really looking for. And we're very hopeful to find one. Oh my gosh, I had so many people set stuff up for me. And of course we're not getting Ayaka friends. Always when you need one, right? Oh, man. I just had a bunch of them. Okay. Well, they're not here, so we're going to have to pretend. Hold on. Oh, and I can't take my own unit to this one. Shucky darns. Okay, I'll have to put her in and just in the party. Okay. We're gonna pretend that our Ayaka friend is right here. Let's see here. And we're going to pretend that our Ayaka friend is reasonably well geared, but not like perfect. So she's just going to be wearing like, you know, whatever vision card. Apologize for this. So our Ayaka is going to be pretty well geared, but not perfect. Does she have Stone Killer? Yep. Okay. There we go. We're not even going to worry about the other stuff. We're just going for it. So here we go. We're going to take this Ayaka. We're going to pretend it's our friend Ayaka. That's not really our friend, and go from there. In fact, we're even going to put the not even going to have a good Esper on. Okay. But here's the rest of our team. We've got Runda, just kind of doing defensive stuff, wearing a bunch of the free story gear and an old STMR, some old TMRs. There's one Neo Visions thing here, Pride of the Behemoth, just for more defense. You don't really need it that bad. If you don't have it, you can totally skip it. Maeve's Vision card, just because it was a Vision card that does defense, you could have gotten off of a Vision card select ticket. And there's Runda. He's just going to be doing defense. Gilgamesh is our breaker. He's also our passive provoker, and he has death immunity from a very old item. Otherwise, he's just wearing some earth resistance and status immunity type stuff. There we go. He's got the Tulian Vision card for even more provoking and defense. Awesome. Again, you can get that from a Vision card select ticket. Sylvie is just wearing her Spring Basket STMR. This is just like original Sylvie, not even Paladin Sylvie. And then here's our Veritas of the Earth, who's going to carry the magic damage by quad casting Bolting Strike Earth damage with Aaron Yes Ring. Otherwise, just wearing a bunch of old stuff. This is actually in a recent event. Hopefully you played. Doesn't really matter that much. He does not really carry the damage. But otherwise, just kind of geared for as much magic as we could cram into him. And we're going to go ahead and take this trial out. So Stroper puts up a Earth Imperil field for the whole party and for himself. So he, despite being an Earth monster, is weak to Earth, which is kind of funny. Our Ayaka is going to start us off here with an Imperil and a Stone Killer buff, and then Holiday Song to boost her own modifiers, or her own resistance rather, Earth Amp, and then she's going to hit the boss once. Gilgamesh is going to break the boss, Imperil Earth, and then just fill LB gauge. Doesn't really matter that much. Runda's going to use LB to fill LB gauges and protect the party. Veritas is going to guard. Sylvie is going to Quake Refuge for an Earth Resist buff. Marion Watch Over Me because we want to keep her triple cast alive. And then Gracious Knight for status immunities. There we go. There's our Ayaka doing some damage. Some attacks hit Runda. Runda's not 100% evasion. He's just partial evasion. So he did take a little bit of damage, but not very much, which is pretty cool. And then our Ayaka is just going to quad cast Bolting Strike, Carol of Joyful Earth, and so is Veritas of the Earth with quadruple black magic Stone Ra. And we're just going to try and chain those together. Okay, didn't quite get it on turn 2 here, which is okay. Runda is just going to guard because he's protecting. Gilgamesh is going to guard because he's protecting us. And Sylvie is just going to... why not? We'll do Vines and Petals. Okay, some attacks come in. Runda's petrified. We don't really care that bad. We're just going to reload and just finish this boss off. So with these units and a really strong friend, you can take out the Stroper. Stroper's not that threatening, not that dangerous, whatever. And that will get you 75% physical and magical Reaper Killer, which will be very helpful for you if you've not done that trial for whatever reason. There we go, Ayaka carrying the damage. Actually, Very impressive. Veritas broke 2 million there. Awesome stuff. And now we'll go again and we'll do Scorn of the Ancient Hellbringer. This one's a little bit trickier just because there is an ambush attack that's kind of dangerous. So we're going to go to Scorn of the Ancient Hellbringer. And we're going to look for a friend who can do Machine Killer for us. Now, this should not be too hard given the fact that we just recently had the Near banner and lots of people have Near units set up as their friend, which is good. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to grab a Near unit if we can. Here we go. Let's see if we can find somebody from the channel, though. Looking. Lots of options, but nobody that's from the channel, because the friends list is fantastic in all ways. We'll take, who was that one that we saw? Eamon. All right, so we're going to take this Eamon. Hopefully you're just geared in both forms. Yes, you are. Fantastic. I'm going to remove my Ayaka. I'm going to remove Veritas here. And I'm going to add in Biggs and Wedge. They are going to do the preemptive cover for our for the magical attacks, and to gear them, we're honestly just going to hit optimize and fire, and it's going to way overload us on fire. Notice that we've happened to have more than 100% fire and ice resist. That's going to be very useful for the second turn, and we're good to go. So there we go. Same team otherwise. Our Sylvie's the same, our Gilgamesh is the same, our Runda's the same. Biggs and Wedge are covering the fire attack. We're totally fine. This one's even easier than Stroper. So really we shouldn't have any trouble. Our really strong A2 friend is going to carry this completely. So we're going to do Machine Killer buff. Actually, we're going to do Charge, Avoid, Machine Killer buff. We're going to target the Searcher, although the Searcher's covering Omega, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. We probably even could have killed it if we'd done our break first, but, whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, break. Genji Blade, whatever. We're just going to do damage mitigation. We're going to guard. Sylvie can do normal Sylvie things. Marion watch over me. We'll go ahead and do withstand the elements for buffs. Bolt egg, whatever. Alrighty, we're gonna chain here. Machine. Yep. He's covering and he had mitigation, which is, whatever. Magical attacks would have been better, but we don't have a magic friend. We're bringing an A2, so I'm just gonna have everybody guard. That avoid that A2 used helps us to avoid all those attacks, which is really nice. And now we're ready to go. So Gilgamesh is going to just go ahead and break the boss, resistance down, LB fill, and then we're going to just use A2 to tag team on the boss. So that was a little trickier just because you do need the elemental resistances and you've got the two enemies thing that's going on, but it's not too bad. And with those two, you're well on your way to putting together a nice combination of killer materials for your party for this week when the Dark Visions bosses come out. Who carried the damage on this one? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so definitely go out there and get yourself ready by getting yourself Reaper Killer materials and abilities and things like that. If you can go ahead and beat Doulahan too, you know, I've done several clears for Doulahan in the past. So if you need help with Doulahan, check those out. And that'll help you get even more Undead Killer to get you ready. But the big focus is you want to focus on units that can give you Reaper Killer buffs, which we've talked about, elemental support, and then elemental resistance buffs for Dark, because that's what the tips told us was coming our way. So for now, that's pretty much it, and we will see you on Thursday over on Twitch, where we're going to do Dark Visions live, because that's all the content that we really get for the week. So we're gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna try not to just like blow it up every fight with the same team. So maybe during the day I'll kind of prepare some teams so we can do them, you know, with the right element and the right units and stuff like that, instead of just blowing it up with the same team, because that's boring. But hopefully we have some fun with it, and we'll see you over there. And thanks so much for sticking around and watching this. If you find it helpful, you know, like and subscribe and all those things. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one on Thursday. Yeah, take care.